Behind every Messi, there is a mind nobody sees. This is the story of that mind. Pep Guardiola once called this man and said, "Come, let's dominate the Premier League together." He said no, because his dream was bigger, and in 2022, he won the World Cup. Manna never played professional football, not once. He grew up in San Vicente, a small town in Santa Fe province, and moved to Rosario to study journalism and communication. But his obsession was tactics. Specifically, one player who most people dismissed as too thin, too technical, too slow for elite football. From that obsession, Manna created Paradigma Guardiola, a theoretical blog-turned-book dedicated to analyzing Barcelona's football and Guardiola's footballing philosophy. He was writing about positional play and tactical intelligence at a time when almost nobody in Argentina was doing it. The blog became a book, and that book reached Guardiola himself, who then invited the young Santafesino to spend time at La Masia. He was part of the Copa America 2015 triumph with Chile, followed Sampaoli to Sevilla, and then joined Argentina's staff for the 2018 World Cup in Russia. That's where he first worked closely alongside a quiet assistant coach named Lionel Scaloni, who later became another mastermind. When Scaloni became Argentina's head coach, Manna returned to Ezeiza, Argentina's training base, to join a coaching staff that with time would become historic. Scaloni himself said, "Matias is a person who is constantly searching for information, watching players, analyzing potential opponents. He is a very important part of the technical staff and we value him greatly. He bombards me with messages." Then came Qatar 2022, and Manna's fingerprints were on every match. His work involved studying opponents, identifying patterns of play, preparing detailed reports for the coaching staff, and providing critical information for each game's tactical planning. Manna had long argued that great midfielders are what unlock great players, and in Qatar, with McAllister, Enzo Fernandez, and De Paul surrounding Messi, that philosophy was proven on the world's biggest stage. He was part of the staff that won Copa America 2021, the Finalissima 2022, the World Cup 2022, and Copa America 2024. 4 trophies, 0 headlines with his name on them. From a small town in Santa Fe, to a blog nobody read, to a coffee with Pep Guardiola, to a World Cup winner's medal around his neck, Matías Manna is proof that football is not won on the pitch alone. Behind every Messi, there is a mind in the shadows, watching, analyzing, preparing, the man behind the screen, the hidden architect of Argentina's golden era. When Argentina crashed out of the 2018 World Cup in Russia, humiliated, leaderless, broken, the Argentine Football Association needed a coach. They called Scaloni. Not as a first choice, not even as a second, as a placeholder, an interim, a seat warmer. Scaloni was 40 years old. He had spent exactly 1 year as an assistant. His appointment was met with ridicule across world football. One Argentine newspaper headline simply read, "Why?" But here's what nobody understood in that moment. Scaloni had spent his entire playing career doing something most players never do: watching, studying, absorbing. Every training ground he entered, every manager he played under, every formation he was asked to operate in, he filed it away, quietly, patiently, building a football brain nobody knew existed. The first thing Scaloni did as Argentina coach wasn't tactical. It was cultural, and that is what separates him from every coach who came before him. Argentina's dressing room in 2018 was a political minefield. Senior players had more influence than coaches. Egos clashed, cliques formed. Coaches came in trying to impose systems on superstar personalities, and the personalities always won. Scaloni walked in and did the opposite of what everyone expected. He cleared the room. He dropped veterans without sentiment. He brought in young, hungry players from across Europe, players who had waited years for this chance and would sacrifice everything for the shirt. He didn't build a squad around names. He built it around attitude. And then, Messi. The greatest player alive had quietly stepped away from international football after the 2018 collapse, disillusioned and exhausted. Previous coaches had begged him, pressured him, made him the sole savior of an entire nation's expectations. Scaloni simply built a team that didn't need saving, and then he invited Messi to join it. That single decision, creating a structure where Messi was the best player in a functioning team rather than a one-man rescue mission, changed everything. Then came Qatar 2022, and on day 1, it fell apart. Saudi Arabia, one of the biggest upsets in World Cup history. Argentina, one of the tournament favorites, beaten. The nation erupted. The phone lines to Buenos Aires burned. Pundits called for Scaloni's immediate removal. Inside the dressing room, Scaloni gathered his players and said something that would later define the entire tournament. No panic, no blame. just, we fix it and we go again. What followed was one of the most remarkable runs in World Cup history. Argentina didn't lose a single match for the rest of the tournament. Scaloni tweaked the defensive shape, trusted the same players who had just embarrassed the country, and methodically dismantled every opponent they faced. Watch each match closely, and you see a different game plan each time. Different press triggers against Mexico, different width against Poland, a completely altered defensive structure for France in the final, until Mbappe's historic comeback forced Scaloni to adapt again in real time, on the biggest stage in football. He managed that final, a match that had everything, penalty shootout included, with the calm of a man who had prepared for every single scenario. Argentina won. And somewhere in the noise and the tears and the fireworks across Buenos Aires, Scaloni simply looked down at the pitch and nodded. Copa America 2021, the Finalissima 2022, World Cup 2022, Copa America 2024, 4 trophies, the most decorated era in Argentine football history. But the numbers don't fully capture what Scaloni built. He gave Argentina back something they had lost long before the trophies ran out, an identity, a way of playing, a belief that this group of players together were unbeatable, a football mind that rebuilt a broken nation one quiet, calculated decision at a time. Not with luck, not with superstars alone, but with a master plan that nobody saw coming.